Right now, you're probably holding a device you didn't consciously decide to reach for, not because you needed it, but because silence appeared for a moment, and your hand reacted before your mind did. That reaction feels normal now, but it didn't exist for most of human history. For almost 300,000 years, the human brain lived in a world without interruption, no notifications, no feeds, no infinite scroll, just silence, survival, and time that stretched without stimulation. And in that world, something very different happened inside the human mind. When nothing was happening, the brain didn't shut down. It activated something else. It started generating thoughts, stories, predictions, meaning. Boredom wasn't a problem. It was a function. But today, that function barely gets used, because the moment silence appears, it disappears. A screen lights up, a vibration hits your hand, a feed opens, and your attention is pulled somewhere else before you even notice the pause. But why does stopping feel so uncomfortable? To understand that, you have to look at what changed, not in psychology, in environment. For most of human history, stimulation was rare. Your brain had long gaps between events, long gaps between input, long gaps where nothing new entered your mind. Then that gap started shrinking. First came electricity, then screens, then algorithms designed to never let the gap appear at all. And something subtle happened. The brain adapted, not by becoming stronger, but by becoming dependent. Because every time silence appeared, something replaced it immediately. The brain stopped waiting. It stopped resting in emptiness. It started expecting input, and that expectation became automatic. Now, when you put the phone down, your brain doesn't experience peace. It experiences withdrawal. Not chemical withdrawal like a drug in the strict sense, but cognitive withdrawal. The absence of stimulation where stimulation used to be constant. And your mind interprets that absence as a problem to fix. So you reach again, not because you chose to, but because the system has no alternative behavior left. But here is the deeper layer. The problem is not attention. The problem is training. Your attention was never designed for constant switching. It was designed for long continuity, for one thought extending into another, for reflection without interruption. But modern environments do not allow continuity. They reward interruption. Every app, every notification, every scroll is built around one principle: break attention before it stabilizes, because stable attention is the point where you leave. And the system cannot afford that, so it keeps you moving, from image to image, from thought to thought, from impulse to impulse, until silence feels unnatural. But silence is not unnatural. It is the original state. When humans lived without constant input, silence was not empty. It was where thinking happened, where meaning formed, where decisions matured instead of reacting instantly. And that version of you still exists. It hasn't disappeared. It has just been interrupted so often that it never reaches the surface. That's why when you finally stop, when the phone is away, when nothing is happening, something strange appears. At first, discomfort, then restlessness, then something softer, a slower mind, a quieter reaction, a space between thoughts. And if you stay long enough in that space, something changes. The urge doesn't disappear because you fought it. It disappears because it no longer has a gap to fill, and what remains is not emptiness. It's attention returning to its original state, not pulled, not fragmented, not reacting, just observing. And that state is not something new. It's something ancient, something you didn't lose, something you forgot how to access. And every time you reach for your phone without thinking, it's not because you are losing control. It's because silence has been trained out of your environment, but it is still inside you, waiting for a moment long enough to return.